Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you are new around here, my name is Nikki. I am a third-year homeschooling mom to 5 boys, 7 and under. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about our experience with the Good and the Beautiful math curriculum and why I don't like it. Oh, I know. Touchy subject, but just hear me out. Grab a cup of coffee or some tea, some water. I need some of that. And let's chat. Alright, so like I said, I am a third-year homeschooling mom. I have 5 boys, 7 and under, and this year I have a 2nd grader, a 1st grader, and my 4-year-old who is pre-K. Sometimes he does school, sometimes he doesn't. We're still kind of on the cusp of doing anything formal with him. So basically this year I am full-time homeschooling 2 kids and my 4-year-old whenever he is interested. So a little background on our math curriculum journey. We have homeschooled from the very beginning. So when my oldest was kindergarten age, we went into that first school year and it was just a lot of trial and error. We started his kindergarten year with Singapore math, and it honestly was not my favorite. I have heard better things about their preschool curriculum that I may use for my 4-year-old next year, but we'll see. Anyway, the kindergarten Singapore math wasn't our favorite. It was just a little too dry and boring, honestly, for him and for me. So by around November, I decided to let that go. And then for the rest of his kindergarten year, I kind of just pulled things here and there to get him through and just to get him to learn the basic things that he needs to learn for kindergarten. And then when we went into his 1st grade year, I had found another math curriculum called Math Made Fun. And I am actually going to link this below because I did really enjoy it. It is made by a woman named Moffatt, and I use a lot of her other things. I have spoke about her products before on here. We use some of her other stuff still, but we tried her Math Made Fun, and while I loved it, it is super creative and very hands-on. It is a lot of prep time, and I simply just did not have the time to dedicate 8+ hours per unit, and I believe there were like 12 units in that 1st grade curriculum. I just simply did not have the time to spend prepping curriculum for that much time. It was just a lot. So by November, it was October. We did it for about a month. We did like the 1st unit. It took us about 6 weeks. And by the middle of October, I'm like, here we are again. Another math curriculum that is not going to work for us. And I was honestly getting frustrated because I just felt like something has to give. Like, we have to find something that works for us. So that is when I found The Good and the Beautiful. And I did a sample of it. I looked through it, and I was hesitant because I'm like, I don't want to buy another math curriculum that's not going to work. This has to work. Like, this has to work. So I purchased both the level K and the level 1, and I bought the math manipulative kits that go alongside those. We dove into that head first, and we were flying through it at first. Then we got to about January, and when things kind of started picking up a little bit more, and that is when I started to see the flaws, and I thought, this is not happening again. We are not dumping another math curriculum. We can't. Like, this has to work. So, spoiler alert, it didn't work. And first, before I tell you why it didn't work and what I didn't like, I want to tell you what I liked about it. So here is what I loved about this curriculum. I really enjoyed the step-by-step instructions that they had for you, the teacher, you, the parent, mom, dad. I love that they had all of that built into each lesson. You didn't need a separate teacher's manual. You didn't have to have any extra books that you had to purchase. It was all built into each lesson. I really, really enjoyed that, and that was probably one of my favorite parts, that I didn't have to prepare anything ahead of time. Although I have heard that some parents do prepare things ahead of time, I did not. I truly just opened it, read the lesson really quick, reviewed it, and we were good to go. I really, really enjoyed that part. I also enjoyed the manipulatives that they include as the lessons. Mostly the games. They included a lot of math games that came with the math kit, and I think that that is a wonderful part of this curriculum. Anytime you add games into learning, you will always find benefits from that. It is super beneficial, and that was absolutely one of the kids' favorite parts of this curriculum, and mine too. And then the other thing that I really enjoyed was the daily dose that they had at the beginning of each lesson. It was a quick little blurb at the beginning of each lesson where they would practice like writing their date. They had a little problem for the child to do, and all of that was able to be done by the child on their own. Now, the things that I didn't like, that I was not a fan of. Before I get into the things that I did not personally like, please remember that this is my opinion only. This is not indicative of what your experience will be. I simply am sharing my personal opinions and our experience with this curriculum. And I will talk more about the curriculum as a whole at the end, but just let it be known that these are simply our experiences, our opinions, and they may be similar to yours and they may be different, and that's okay. So the things I did not like about this curriculum is how long the lessons were. They seemed very heavy on the front end. There was a lot of story involved, which may be beneficial for your child, but for us, it didn't really work. It was just a lot of extra fluff that we didn't need. In hindsight, I would have probably skipped that more than I did. I ended up skipping it some of the time. I probably should have skipped it more, but you know better, you do better. The other thing that I did not enjoy was all of the manipulatives. So I think that some of them served a purpose. Sometimes they were a little bit unnecessary, and there were just a lot of them, and it's just a lot of extra stuff to have to keep track of and store. That I was not a fan of. The big, most important thing for me, and the deal breaker for me, was how teacher heavy parent, mom, dad, whoever is homeschooling your child, it is very, very heavy load on you. It requires a lot out of the homeschool parent. Every lesson requires assistance from beginning to end. Now, perhaps other families do this differently, but when we were going through this curriculum, I had a kindergartner and a first grader. My kindergartner could not read at all. My first grader was still at a very basic reading level and needed me to do the entire lesson with him. So what that ultimately led to was an entire change in our homeschool routine. I had to do one child's entire lessons first, and then he would be done, and then my other son would come in and I would do all of his at once. And ultimately, it was making our homeschool day last forever. And I knew by like January that this was not going to be something that we could continue ongoing. Now, that to be said, we did finish this curriculum that year. We continued on through the rest of the school year, and while we didn't make it to the very end of the curriculum, we did most of it, and we finished around May, and it was fine. I was not going to dump another one and be wasteful and not use it, so I just kind of like made a stick with it, and we just kind of trudged along. We skipped the things that we didn't enjoy or weren't serving us, and only did the parts that I thought were the most beneficial. But the one thing that never changed was how much I had to do, and I knew that that was not going to work long term. I am not in a season of life where I can sit and do an entire math lesson with 2 students simultaneously. One, I can't do that. And 2, I don't want to spend that much time with one student and then have to do it again with another student, because I have several little kids and it is just not feasible for me. I know some families make this work for them. It was just something that I could not get to work for us. So that was really the deal breaker. The other thing that I didn't, not that I can't say that I didn't care for it, but it was a little confusing to me. The Good and the Beautiful is labeled as a spiral method math curriculum. This year we have used a true spiral method math curriculum, and I can see how different they are. If you do not know what a spiral math curriculum is, or spiral method is in a math curriculum, it is where they teach a concept and then they come back to that concept over and over and over again throughout the entire curriculum. The curriculum we are using this year is a true spiral method. I see these concepts being reintroduced over and over and over again, so they are truly mastering those concepts. I cannot say with confidence that I felt the same way about the Good and the Beautiful Maths curriculum. The one final thing that did not serve our family well was how slow the curriculum moves. I, again, didn't even fully feel how slow it was until we switched curriculums this year, and I saw how quickly math concepts were being introduced, and my children were, keeping pace with that. They are keeping pace with that. This is something that I think either works for your child or doesn't. I knew that my kids needed to be a little bit more challenged, and they could be challenged more, and they could move at a faster pace. The Good and the Beautiful Math is a very gentle approach. I know that there are children who need that. They absolutely need a much softer, gentler approach to math. And if that is what your child needs, I would highly recommend this curriculum. Ultimately, I have no bad things to say. I wouldn't not recommend this. I think that it serves a lot of families very well, and it is a solid math curriculum. It simply just did not work for us. Thankfully, we have found something that has worked for us. The Good and the Beautiful Math was just not the one for us, and that is okay. Like I said earlier, I personally know families that love and swear by the Good and the Beautiful. We use other curriculums by the Good and the Beautiful. They are an amazing company, and I recommend them to all new homeschooling parents because they have so many wonderful products and curriculums that serve so many people so well. The math for us just was a dud, and that's okay. If it serves your family well, that's what matters. I wanted to share this with you because had I known some of these things prior to purchasing it, I probably wouldn't have done so. But again, you know better, you do better, and that's okay. So I really, really hope that you gained some insight from this video. Whether you agree or not, that's okay. If you have used the good and the beautiful, I would love to hear your feedback down below. Whether you agree that it did work for you or you didn't, I love to hear all feedback. I think that it is helpful to not only myself, but to other people who may watch this and see your comments, because while it didn't work for us, it may work for you, and that's wonderful. I hope that it does. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Give it a big old thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more videos, and I will see you in the next one.